One point is the location. We're located on the west coast, and hence the orientation traditionally has been much more towards Asia, towards the Pacific, and less towards the Atlantic. I should add to this also the student population. Actually, the largest student group we have on the Berkeley campus nowadays is the group composed of either Asian students or Asian American students. So either students coming from China, Japan, Korea, or students born in the United States but with parents who happen to have an Asian background or Asian roots. And all of that combined, of course, explains that the orientation is indeed very strongly towards Asia, towards the Pacific. At the same time, what we see as our task on the Berkeley campus is to make sure that this bridge towards Europe continues to be important. What in our case I do see increasingly is that it is among the students who happen to have an Asian background or who are Asian, that those students actually also have increasingly an interest in Europe, and who they themselves believe that you cannot understand trans-Pacific relations without also studying transatlantic relations. So that in an increasingly globalized world, those connections are not just one way, right? There's multiple connections there, and Europe still very much plays a role in that. It is indeed true that the transatlantic relations also in American politics have changed, and they have changed dramatically under President Trump, of course. But that does not mean that as some people have argued, trans-Pacific relations are the future, transatlantic relations are the past. I would definitely not think about it in that way. I would much rather say we have to increasingly see transatlantic relations in a much broader globalized connection, and connect these transatlantic relations indeed to trans-Pacific relations, but also to relations with Africa, with Latin America, with the Caribbean, right? And to think much more about Europe as a fascinating place of research, of debate, of scholarship in a global context, and to see also European studies in this global context. And this is also the reason that when I became director of the Institute, I decided to put the emphasis on what 5 years ago I labeled Global Europe. So it's studying Europe, it's studying European politics, culture, identities, but to do that in a global connection. And I think that's the way forward. That's the way also for us to look at Europe, European Union in the years to come.